Well, today we're going to start talking about the nuts and bolts of our psychology, what is inside of our heads. Um, Basic emotions. There are different ways of describing emotions. There are different tons of different books and tons of different way of defining it, and we're gonna go through different way of seeing it until we're gonna contrast. Emotions or emotional intelligence with the cognitive intelligence, and we're going to work a little bit with this book and others but this book was the first one, Daniel Goleman, Emotional Intelligence, from the 90s. Okay, so the basic emotions, which is there is not a consensus about this, like in everything else in psychology, are this one: anger, fear, joy, love, sadness, and surprise. Those are the basic ones, and they are related with when we were not civilized, and related with how we were when we tried to survive in uncharted territory. So now we have to address the problem of defense mechanism. And defense mechanisms are psychological and conscious defenses that the mind produces in order to stop us to feel anxiety or to feel fear. So defense mechanisms are listed in three different kinds. The first one is called the primitive defense mechanism. And the primitive defense mechanisms are because they are formed when we are very, very, very young. And these one are denial, regression, acting out, dissociation, compartmentalization, projection, and reaction formation. The second level is called less primitive, and they're very well spread their uses: repression, displacement, intellectualization, rationalization, and undoing. And finally, defense mechanisms that are considered mature are sublimation, compensation, and assertiveness. So, in order to put everything together, we need to talk about of a third element. So we have emotions, we have defense mechanisms, and now I want to talk a little bit about, make a list actually about the pattern or symptoms that are common to most of the emotional problems, and we take three, four, five of them, and we create a cluster. And once we create a cluster, we create a diagnosis and a treatment. So let's talk about this in very briefly. Uh, Patterns or symptoms. The first ones are acceptance, then aggressiveness, argumentativeness, attention seeking, callousness, cruelty, cynicism, deceitfulness, delusion of superiority, demanding, depression, distrust, and suspicion, feelings of emptiness, guilt, humiliation, idealization slash devaluation, immediate gratification, impressionistic speech, impulsiveness, inflexibility, intimidation, irritability, lack of initiative, low self-esteem, manipulation, negativism, passive aggression, promiscuity, reckless behavior, self-centeredness, self-defeating, self-destructiveness, shallow emotions, submission, and timidity. Then, with all these ingredients, we can start making sense of why we feel in such a way, or why our partner or our boss or our friend has this strange behavior that many times we feel we are wrong, when we are in contact to them. But if we like dig a little bit deeper, we can start seeing patterns, and we start seeing those patterns. We can pinpoint the situation in a better way. This is not for you or for me to tell you that you are like doing witch hunt. This is not the idea. But the idea is that to identify these elements and see what how can we help, whether it's related with ourselves, which is hard to find because we go this denial thing, but also we can see in people and stop feeling like horrible about our behaviors and start like focusing a little bit more in the other people behavior. That might help us to understand better where we what we are facing and where we are living really.